Good morning, everyone. I haven't been live for a few weeks. It's been a busy time over the summer break for various reasons. Lots of projects going on, lots of people on annual leave. Yes, a bit of a busy time. I'm just checking if this is actually going live on LinkedIn. This is a bit strange. Bear with me. Not entirely sure if this is fully going live on all of my platforms. It looks like it might just be live on YouTube, but possibly not on some of the other platforms. So if that is the case, apologies. What I will do is I will carry on because I've got some interesting things to share today. And what I will do after is I'll share the link to everyone that registered on LinkedIn, so that you can make sure you can watch the recording back if for any reason it's not displaying onto that platform, which I'm not 100% sure. I can't entirely tell, and I don't want to spend too much time looking that up and wasting time if anybody is watching and listening and you don't want to see me playing around with tech in the background. So what we're going to be covering today is looking at some of the AI tools that are available to us right now that can make a really big difference in candidate attraction and marketing. Now, everyone has heard of ChatGPT, or if you haven't, you probably should have done by now, because it's been talked about for a very long time. I guess probably around November last year was when we started to really hear about ChatGPT, and it started to emerge and people started to talk about it, and you heard about it on social channels. Obviously, folks started to have a play with it and try it out. I think most people that are in this sector, or at the very least that are on social media and hearing about these tools, will probably have gone on to ChatGPT and had a bit of a dabble and a bit of a play around with it. Perhaps continued using it because you think it's a really good tool, or perhaps didn't really get the best out of it, and so tried it but then stopped again. Now, this session is not necessarily going to be about ChatGPT, even though I do have an alternative tool which brings the power of ChatGPT in. In fact, a couple of the tools actually use the power of that ChatGPT is based on. It's based on their technology. So it does use that technology, but it's not necessarily just ChatGPT today, basically, because we've heard that and we know about that. So I want to show you some alternatives or some other resources available to you that are also really clever. So I said we were going to talk about candidate attraction and candidate marketing. Now, one of the most important things in candidate attraction is to be able to draw your candidates in. So put some information out into the world, however you do that, whether you do that via your website, via your social channels, via events. I mean, there's all sorts of ways to get information out into the world. And really, you'll probably do a combination of a bunch of different things. If you come to my sessions before, we've talked about online and offline marketing. And really, the best marketing strategies have a mixture of all of these. And these might be, online might be your socials and your website and your careers page. And offline might be events, or, going to conferences, exhibitions and things like that. So there's a real range that you can do both online and offline. And in an ideal world, you want to have a mix of both. But you're putting something out there to the world to try and draw your candidates in, and you're trying to engage them. Now, the next best thing you can do is you can engage them, draw them in, get them to want to understand more about you, or read your content, or read your blogs, or whatever it is that you're putting out there. But how amazing would it be if not only could you attract them with something that's interesting, a piece of content, let's say, or a piece of information, draw them in, get them to engage with you as an organization. So, they share their contact details and they share some useful information about them, whilst you're giving them information that's useful. Because, again, going back to earlier sessions, we need to think about the what's in it for me, the WIFM. So every time you're thinking about a candidate engagement, you want to think about what's in it for me from the candidate's perspective. So everything you do, so if you're writing an advert for a job, look at it from the candidate's perspective and think about what's in it for me, from their shoes. And so if you had a piece of content that you could use to draw them in, engage them, attract them, that gave you useful information and insights about them and how to attract them and how to get them to be an actual candidate, so how to get them to apply for a vacancy and how to engage them so that they they accept your offer when you get to that point of making an offer. But also you're using that to give them information they are going to feel is really helpful to them. And they're going to remember you as an organization for providing them support and help. Doing those three things in once is even better again. And so there's a really clever tool that allows you to capture candidate data whilst engaging with your candidates and helping your candidates. So giving them some support, helping them with a piece of information, all at once, all at the same time as engaging them and capturing data about them. And it's called a scorecard. And the way you develop a scorecard is you create some information or some questions that will help you understand your candidate in this situation. You can use scorecards in all different ways, but in this situation, understand your candidates and what's important to them, but also, working out what you can help them with, so you can then provide them with a piece of information that will support their journey or their opportunity to find the right role. And I'm going to share a scorecard tool with you that I absolutely love, and I use this all the time. And if you've been to any of my events in the last few months where I've spoken, so I used it at RecFest. I think I've used it for an IHRE event as well. I use them in a number of different ways. So, and this is just a clever way you can use it for your candidate attraction. So bear with me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you how you can build a scorecard. If I can find the right window to share with you. I've got too many windows open. No, it's not letting me share it. Here we go. Having all sorts of tech problems today. Okay, so this is a system called ScoreApp, and it's a really clever tool, and you can use it to create a scorecard for your candidates. And the really clever thing about this, I mean, it was already clever before, but they've added AI into it, so you can actually create a scorecard now in literally, almost a couple of minutes. And I'm going to demonstrate how you can do that. So I've pre-prepared some inputs to it, because you need to input some information into it, just so I could be quicker in demonstrating that for you today. So I'm going to really quickly show you how you can create a scorecard or a survey, which is all about attracting candidates. I'm going to use the healthcare industry as an example, but you can use any industry. And it's going to be about how I can support healthcare professionals to really blitz their interview. And so that means that I'm going to ask them questions about what their interview skills look like right now. I'm going to capture that information, and then at the end they would get a document tailored to them, to tailor to the skills they need to develop. So for example, if they say, oh, I'm really good at writing an application, or my CV looks really good, but I really struggle when I get to the interview because I don't know how to sell myself, and they answer the questions that identified that selling themselves was a problem for them, you would have tools set up in the background, so they would get a certain score that would score them as needing support in that area. and they would get automatically sent a PDF downloadable document that gave them some tips and advice on how to sell themselves in an interview and how to develop that part of their interview process. Somebody else might say, I'm really bad and I don't understand how to use, the STAR technique, for example. And their score would be different, and they would then get a document that told them, here's how you work through the STAR technique. Here's how to use it in an interview situation, and teach them and walk them through the strategy or the technique, so that they know how to use it in the future. So what it does is it will ask them some information, it will capture some data, and then it will give them something really practical and useful that they can use to make sure they get the next opportunity, whilst getting them onto your mailing list so you can engage with them and develop a relationship with them for the future. So you get them to opt in effectively using a tool like this. And by opting in, they'll be part of your mailing list. You will then get permission to perhaps add them to your talent pool, but you've captured their details, and you've captured one, their contact details and their name, but two, some key things about them so that you can help. You can offer them support and help in the future, which will help engage them and encourage them to want to, look at your company as an organization to work for. So really quickly, let's do this. So I'm going to create a scorecard. I'm not going to start from scratch. You can start from scratch where you design your own questions. Of course, that's a really good way of doing it, and it's much more comprehensive in a way, but it's obviously slower. You can pick a template from some templates they have in stock, or I'm going to use the AI setup wizard because that's the quick way of doing it. So let's press get started. I'm going to say that obviously this is set up for in a generic way. It's not set up for recruitment specifically, but I've realized that you can use it really effectively in recruitment. So it talks about leads and clients, but don't worry about that language. But ultimately, I want to generate new leads because I want to generate new candidates, and that's what I'm going to click for this one. The next question it asks me is, how do you want to format the feedback that the scorecard delivers? Now, I don't know if I want a single score. I want to tell them if they're, a type of individual. Let's say the example here is you're an introvert, or so it's a single outcome, or if I want to give them multiple scores. You might know which you want, and that's great if you go ahead with that. But if you're not sure, that's all right. Let the AI choose, because what the AI will do, it will look at your questions and look at what you're trying to achieve, and then it will suggest the type of score that you should give based on that information. So as I said, I had prepared some guidelines for this earlier just to make it quicker for me. So how would you describe your business? So I'm going to put in here that it's a talent acquisition team in the healthcare industry, and now asks me, how would you describe your target audience? So it obviously comes up with suggestions already. So it already knows by that headline that I'm looking for nurses or doctors or administration staff, and I can get more suggestions, pharmacists, medical technicians. So it's really clever. It already knows the type of people I'm going for. But because I'm looking for this in a very specific way, I'm going to put my own information in. I'm just going to broaden it out and say nurses and other healthcare professionals, because I want it to be a little bit broader than just, we'll say, nurses or doctors. So I'm going to click next. And now it says, what do you want to help your clients improve? In this situation, our clients are our candidates that we're trying to attract. What do we want to help them improve, achieve, or prevent by using the scorecard? So what do we want? What's the purpose of this scorecard? So again, for me in this situation, I'm using this to help me attract candidates and show them that I can help them in their future job search. So I've typed in here, we want to help them ace their interview. I've only got 100 characters, which is why I'm using shorthand, things like ACE, which obviously AI loves because it's very American, and get the job they want by improving their interview skills. You only have 100 characters, so you've got to be fairly short in your purpose or your objective here. And I'm going to press next. Now it's going to give me some suggested concepts or headlines for my scorecard. Bearing in mind, this is an American type tool, so an AI language is often very American. So you do need to, play with this a little bit, and you can use your own words and language as well. So I don't have to use the suggestions the AI is coming up with. But what it is nice to do is, Sorry, bear with me. My phone started ringing. What it is nice to do is to look at some of the concepts and some of the ideas, and you can take some of those, you use them as inspiration. You can take one of those and you can tweak it if you want. So, so let's have a look here. What is it suggested? So it's suggested boost your interview skills and land your dream healthcare job. Ace your healthcare interview and secure your dream job. Master the art of healthcare interviews and get hired. Crack the code to healthcare interview success. Unleash your interview superpowers in the healthcare industry. Unlock your potential, conquer healthcare interviews. And I can load more suggestions and get more ideas. I'm just going to go really simple and say, let's have a look. Here we go. Yeah, unlock your potential, conquer healthcare interviews. Now I might say, okay, that's a little bit cheesy for me, and I might want to change that a little bit. So, you know, I don't know. Let's do blitz your healthcare interviews. Probably still a little bit cheesy, but I'm doing this in a little bit quicker. If I was actually doing this seriously, I'd probably spend a little bit longer to identify a headline that was going to attract people, because your headline is really important. Your headline is the first thing that people will see when you share this that is going to draw them in. So you really need to think about a headline that's going to resonate with your target audience and going to make them click to go forward to the next place. But we're just going to use that one for now. And so what it's doing now is it's thinking about questions that it would ask my candidate, my ideal candidate, that will draw in, it will get the information that I need. And it's going to give me a bunch of suggestions, and I can add my own questions as well. I can also tell it what I like and what I don't like. So when I click the Get More Suggestions box, it will say, okay, well, you didn't like this kind of question, so I'm going to give you other questions. And so here's the first suggestions. Are you confident in your ability to communicate effectively during interview? I think that's quite a good question, so I'm going to add that. Do you have experience in handling difficult interview questions? Like that. Have you researched the healthcare organization and its values before attending interviews? Like that, because I think it's always important for a candidate to remember to research the organization they're applying for. Do you demonstrate enthusiasm and passion for the healthcare industry during interviews? Quite like that. Have you practiced your interview responses and body language? Like that as well. So it's going to come up with more suggestions. If I didn't like any of those, I would have clicked the thumbs down and said, you know, I don't like that style of question. It's not quite what I'm going for. So let's see if there's any here that I don't really like. To be fair, they're all quite good, but just to show you how it works, I'm going to thumbs down this particular one. It's going to take it off the list. And if I run more suggestions, let's say that was a really cheesy question. To be fair, it wasn't. It's almost too good to demonstrate sometimes. It would take away those kind of cheesy questions, and the new suggestions would be very different. So let's have a look at these. Are you comfortable discussing your previous healthcare experience during interviews? Let's do that. I'm not going to add all of these. I'm just skimming through them. Are you confident in your ability to handle stressful situations as they arise? That's probably not really the type of question I want, because I'm trying to help. I want to create a tool that helps candidates to do really well in their interviews. So I'm going to add this one. Comfortable discussing previous experience. Come on, why is it not adding? Oh, added it twice. Don't know why I did that. Right, okay. Let's have a look, skim through. Here we go. This is a good one. Are you able to effectively demonstrate your problem-solving abilities in healthcare scenarios? I'm going to add that. It's duplicated things. I'm not sure why it's done that. Do you possess current knowledge of, that's not a bad one. Do you possess excellent knowledge of current healthcare industry trends and developments? I'm going to add that one. Okay, so I've got 8 questions. I'm going to leave it at that. Now, if I wanted to, later I can go in and add more questions that are tailored to me. So I'm just going to say next for now. The AI has chosen an overall score for me. So it's going to score the candidate and say, here's your interview skills score. It might say you're 50% there in your ability to really blitz your interview, but it might say you're only 20% there. Whatever the score, it will then give them some information and some guidance to help them get to the next level. The concept we've chosen is unlock your potential, blitz your healthcare interviews, and we've got 8 questions. So I'm going to create my scorecard, and this will just show you how quick this actually is. So the AI has written 599 words for us, saving us 4 hours of content creation. And I'm just going to go to my dashboard and have a look at that. Now, I can go in and I'm just going to go to this and show you what it looks like. Now I can go in and I can change the background, the pictures here, the language, the colors. I can change all of those things. But this is just kind of setting it up for me to get it going nice and quickly, and then I can go and tweak after. And I'm going to click here and say, take the scorecard. And what it does is it, first of all, asks the person to put in their details. So you're capturing their name. So let's do Tara. Tara. Start the test. So what it does is right up front, it asks you to capture their details. Now, there is also a place in there for you thinking about GDPR and making sure that we've got their permission to capture their data. There's a section that you can go to separately. I'm not going to get into it today because it's too detailed. So you can put in your own data capturing statement to make sure that it covers you, to be able to then add them to your mailing list and be able to send them further communication later on. Or you can even put in there that you're going to add them to your talent pool. So it depends on the statement, the GDPR statement you put in there. And if you do want to use this tool later and you want some more guidance on it, I'll be absolutely happy to give a more comprehensive run through and training session of how to use the tool. So now it's going to go through the questions. I'm going to answer the questions very quickly just to show you this is how it looks from a candidate perspective. And again, you can change the color, you can change the fonts, and you can add your brand in here as well. So you can really brand it and make it look like you. So I'm going to say, I'm not confident in my ability of communicating at interviews. Do you have experience in handling difficult questions? I have some experience. Have you researched the healthcare organization? Yes, I have. Do you demonstrate enthusiasm and passion for the healthcare interviews? I'm going to say no, I really struggle to get my enthusiasm across in my interviews. Have you practiced interview responses and body language? No, I haven't. Are you comfortable discussing previous healthcare experience? Yes, comfortable with my experience. Are you able to effectively demonstrate your problem-solving abilities in healthcare scenarios? No, I really struggle with explaining that and getting that message across. Do you possess excellent knowledge of healthcare, current healthcare industry trends and developments? No, I don't. Those are not necessarily true answers, by the way. I'm just wanted to show you what the score looks like. And now it comes to a final page saying, congratulations on completing the survey. You've made progress, but there's room for improvement. Now, bearing in mind, I haven't written any of this, but I can go back and I can edit this content and I can put in something that resonates with my target audience and is the language of my organization. But this is just the AI putting something together for me so I can get it going quickly. For your healthcare interviews, it is crucial to focus on enhancing your communication skills, showcasing your relevant experience, and demonstrating your ability to work well in a team. Additionally, consider researching the healthcare organization thoroughly and preparing thoughtful questions to ask during the interview. By addressing these areas, you can increase your chances of acing your next healthcare interview. That's actually, decent advice for the questions that I've answered, with, me as an organization putting no time into putting this statement out there, because the AI has done all of that for me. If I was going to do this for my company, I would make it, like I say, much more tailored to the organization. And I would also then, give them probably some extra information. And what I would also do, which I haven't done today because it's not quick to do, is I would attach a link to a PDF document that they could download, which would give them information on how they can blitz their healthcare interview. So I might have a PDF document which has interview tips and a guide to help them think about the type of questions that they should prepare for the end of the interview, think about the type of questions they might be asked and how they could respond to those. So I'd give them an interview guide that they could download. And what the tool will also do is, because you've captured their contact details, it can send these results and the document that you're giving them to help them with their preparation, their interview preparation, directly through to their email address as well for you. So you start the engagement with them. And you can add other things. You give them their score. You can add on a video about your organization on here and what's so great about it. It might be a video of people, talking about what they do on an average day. This is just the AI putting anything in there. And you can ask them to book a call with one of your recruiters to talk about opportunities in your organization. You can also do lots of other things on this page. You can put links in here to your job page, your careers page. You can put lots of information on this. This is the results page that they get, which you can tailor as much as you like. So I'm just going to stop sharing that one. So that's the first tool. So what I'm going to do is, after this session, I will send everybody that's registered, first of all, a copy of the recording, but second of all, some links to these different tools. The scorecard tool, the link that I can send you gives you I think it's a 30-day free trial. If you set up your own free trial, I think you want to get a 7-day free trial, but I can give you a 30-day free trial, which I'll give you, which basically gives me some additional. I think it gives me a month free as well. So it's a win-win for both of us. I think you get 30 days and I get 30 days or something to that effect. So I'll send out a link for that. So hopefully that was interesting to you. Like I say, that can be shared on your careers. It can be embedded on your careers page. And so every time somebody comes to your careers page, they can go onto that quiz or any quiz that you think is suitable for them. So you can create any quiz you want. That was just a really quick example of one. Any quiz that you want. If you're creating a quiz to capture candidate data, I would also build in questions in there to ask them about their motivations. What are they looking for in an organization? What's important to them in an organization? What values are really important to them? Perhaps some questions around why they're leaving their current organization or how it's not meeting their values. So you'd ask them some other questions that you could also use later on to engage them in the recruitment process. You might even ask them if they're currently seeking a new opportunity, or how far away they are from thinking about a new opportunity, because the fact that they're filling out a questionnaire about blitzing healthcare interviews means that they're thinking about it. They might not be ready to apply right now, but they're considering it. And so, if you can capture some information on when they are seriously thinking of applying, you can start to engage with them closer to that time and start to offer them support or talk to them about opportunities that might be right for them. So there's all sorts of things you can do to capture data that would be really useful for you to engage with those candidates further down the track. And the reason they give you this information is because you're promising them a useful, practical tool that they can use at the end of the quiz. So you've got to think about what's in it for them. So why would they give you their information, and why would they answer these questions? The reason they're doing it is because they are clearly concerned about their interview skills, and you're going to give them a guide that's going to help them with that. So you've got to give them something to make this work. So that's the scorecard. So I've got 3 main tools I want to show you today, but one additional kind of bonus, and it's the ChatGPT bonus. I might come to that next, actually. So it's not using just ChatGPT. It's called the ChatGPT Hub. So bear with me one second. I'm just going to share that and get that up in front of me. Okay, right, let's get that up in front of me. So this this Chat Hub, it's called, is a place where you can have multiple AI chat bots in one time. So I've got it set up just with 2, but I think you can add 3 or 4 or 5, possibly even 6. Actually, I think up to 6. Bear with me. Yeah, I think you can use up to 6 different platforms all in one place. And the beauty of it is that you only need to type your prompt once, and it will write it on the different tools. And one day you might think, actually, I really like what ChatGPT have written here. But another day you might think, actually, I prefer what Bard have written or what Bing has written. So I'm going to use that one instead. So let me show it to you. And it's just a nice tool to be able to use multiple platforms at once, because not ChatGPT isn't going to be the right one for every piece of content. So let's share that with you. Okay. So this is Chat Hub. Again, don't worry too much about finding links or anything. It's actually a Chrome extension, and I'm going to send you the details of that with your replay as well. So this is Chat Hub. And like I say, it's got lots of different tools that you can use. On this one, I've just got set up ChatGPT and Bing, but I could change these two to something else. I could do Bard and Bing if I want to, or other tools. There's new tools emerging all the time. And so what I would do is I would write my prompts in here at the bottom. So you can see here, actually, I could change it to, I'm on a free version at the moment, so I could change it to use more layout. So I could use 3 different, I could use ChatGPT, Bard, Bing, and Bard all at the same time, or I could go to 4, or I could go to 6. But to be honest, 2 or 3 is probably enough right now. Now, I've prepared this prompt earlier. This is for a content calendar. So, this is the marketing part of how you can use AI. So in using AI for your marketing, what you can do is you can help you create a content calendar, and you can then help you create the content that you go along with that. The thing to remember when you're using chatbots or GPT or any of these tools is that the content it will give you will be 80% of the way there. So it's like having a really good quality and a really fast assistant to help you, but it's never going to be 100%. And if you copy and paste the information and share that as content, it's going to look like ChatGPT generated content. So what I recommend, and what I always do myself, is I use it as an assistant and as a tool to help me with my inspiration. So if I'm writing a blog, for example, I'll ask it to help me by inspiring me, and then I'll go in and make it my own, in my own language. I'll change the words, I'll make it more me. I'll add to it, I'll delete from it, I'll do lots of things to make it right for me. But it gets me 80% of the way there, and it takes me from writing a blog over 2 hours to writing a blog in 30 to 45 minutes, which is a massive time saver, especially if you're creating content sent out to attract candidates. So I've just written in here a prompt that I found really good for creating a content calendar, which is, please use the below headline topics to create a blog calendar schedule that will complement each week's content, combining the content for each week into one blog headline, then create a 4-week blog content calendar laid out in a table format. The headline topics are finding a job in healthcare and interview skills for finding the best job in healthcare. I'm just going to send that. Oh, sorry, because it's I can only use 2. So just copy and paste that in again because I'm not paying for it at the moment. And you can see that both ChatGPT and Bard start creating content straight away. And they're putting it into a table format, which is what I asked it to do, because I want to be able to copy and paste that into an Excel spreadsheet, which makes it nice and easy. And if you ask it to put things into a table format, you can do that. So here we go. So you can see here, ChatGPT has actually given me a lot more information. So it's given me week 1, 3. So it's given me a 3-day blog schedule for 4 weeks, which is brilliant. But Bing has given me a 4-week blog headline schedule, which is perfect as well. And that's exactly what I asked it to do. So ChatGPT has gone over and above on this situation. But it's also about reading, what is it suggesting? So let's have a look. So ChatGPT has broken into a nice almost program of blog content. So it's got week 1 getting started, week 2 job search strategies, week 3, preparing for interviews, and week 4, nailing the interview. So again, I might not use those exact headlines, but it's giving me some inspiration. I hadn't necessarily thought of doing it in a 4-week content spread like this, and I think that's actually quite nice. It's a Monday, navigating the healthcare job market. So an introduction to healthcare job market and its challenges, etc., etc. I'm not going to read through all of them, but you can see here it's giving some really nice headlines, and those headlines are a really great start to me writing my content for 4 weeks. So if I was creating a content calendar, I pretty much have the headlines laid out for me, and I now need to expand to create the blog. And so what's been given me, so it's given me 4 weeks, but 1 blog per week. So week 1, tips for finding a job in healthcare, a comprehensive guide to get you started, which is a very similar thing, but it's just done it in a week 1. Week 2, interview skills for finding the best job in healthcare, mastering the art of impressing employers. So they're all good. Like those, they all make sense. So let's say now I want to create that first blog. So I'm going to copy this. Actually, I'm just going to copy this part. And I'm going to say, I like to be polite to the chatbot. I just think it's nice. Please write me an expanded blog with this headline. Please write in British English. That's so we get British English spelling, not American English spelling. You still sometimes get the odd one, but it generally improves it. And please write in simple so my headline, I'm just going to paste in here. And then again, I'm sending that to both platforms, because both platforms are writing it at once. So here we go. They've both started to write my blog for me. ChatGPT talks about using online job boards, exploring healthcare company websites, connect on LinkedIn, reach out to your network. So these are great tips, really good tips. Bing has done something a little bit different. It's got an introduction, define your goals, research healthcare job markets, utilize job boards, leveraging professional networks, tailor your resume and cover letter, prepare for interviews, follow up, etc., etc. Both look like good content. Now, I haven't read everything in there because obviously that would take me too long right now. But if I was actually writing a blog on one of these topics, I would read through those. I might even merge the two of them together and create something that brings both of them. But like I say, you've got to think of it as 80%, because I would take this, I would copy it into a Word document, and then I would tweak it, tailor it, make it mine by using my own language, and adding, deleting, just making it customized to my needs. But it's a really great tool and a great opportunity to be able to use multiple platforms at once. So hopefully you found that useful. I'm just going to unshare again. Right, so that's two of the tools that I really like. Both great tools. They both have, actually Scorecard doesn't have a free option, but it does have a cheap option. If you just wanted to have one scorecard live on your careers page, it's actually very, very low cost. I think it's like 20-something pounds a month. The Chat Hub has a free option, which is the one I'm using. And if you want to use, so you can use 2 platforms. If you wanted to use 3 or more, or 4 or more than that at one time to just compare what the chatbot is writing, then you would have to pay a little bit. I think it said $35 US dollars for 3. But to be honest, I think 2 is enough, especially once you identify which are the 2 that are the best for the type of writing that you do. Right. The next tool that I'm really loving at the moment, and if you're on social media and you're connected to recruiters, you'll probably be hearing about this one. And I'm not going to be able to demonstrate it because it's a transcription tool. So it's all about it's about transcribing your interview notes. Now there's a bunch of reasons for using a transcription tool, and I've been a fan of them for quite a while. But with AI, they've become even better than they were before. So previously, you had transcription tools, and basically what they did was they captured everything you wrote verbatim, which is great. You know, that's a really good thing to have. But they didn't really provide a summary, and you know, there would be lots of things like ums and ahs and all the gaps and the filler language we all have, which I use and ah for. They have all of that in there, so it's a little bit more difficult to decipher. And if you want to rewrite the notes to make them really user friendly for the person reading them, it's a little bit more difficult because you've got to go through the whole transcript and tidy it up. There's a great tool that's on the market right now, and like I say, it's being talked about quite a lot, and it's called MetaView. And again, I'll send a link to that, and the link that I can send you actually gives you, I can't remember how much of a free trial, but again, a bigger free trial than you would normally get on the platform. And what it does for me is it gives me free interviews. So I get to have one free interview for every time somebody uses my referral link, basically. So again, it's a win-win for all of us. MetaView is really clever. It's really simple to use. It's actually very, very simple to use, which is one of the great things about it. Once you've set yourself up, what you do is you invite MetaView along to your interview. So when you send an interview invitation to a candidate, and it will also, so either you do it manually, or if you use like a Calendly or your ATS does that for you, you can hook it into those systems and it will do it automatically for you. So you don't have to do it manually. But if you just say you're doing it manually and you're sending a Teams, MS Teams invitation, you basically invite MetaView along to the interview, and it effectively comes along to the interview. You don't need to do anything. It will come along to the interview. And what will happen is it will transcribe the interview notes for you. And then once your interview is finished, you'll get you get an email, and you also get a message if you're logged on saying the interview is completed, and it will send you a summary of your interview notes. You can add information to it to tell it what it is you want to really know about the interviewer, the interviewee. So you can give it things that you really want to extract. But what it does, and what all transcription tools do, is they take away that bias. You know, when you're writing notes, it's very hard to engage with the candidate and write verbatim notes at the same time. And if you're trying to write verbatim notes, what will happen is you will not hear everything the candidate's saying, and you probably won't be engaging with them and, you know, looking at them and smiling and nodding and doing all those nice encouraging things to make it a nice atmosphere and environment. And you also will probably not capture all of the information because it's almost impossible to do it. The only way you can do it completely verbatim is to have a note taker in the interview with you, whose job is not to engage, and they don't need to, to look like part of the interview panel. They would literally just take notes. But this tool does that for you. So of course it saves time, it saves money ultimately, because you don't need to have an interviewer there, but it reduces bias, because when you're trying to take notes yourself, you tend to write down the things that you hear, and you don't always hear everything. And sometimes your unconscious biases will come in, and you'll hear them say something, but actually perhaps that's not what they meant. And if you saw verbatim notes of what they actually said, you might interpret that in a different way. And the AI doesn't interpret it in any way. It just captures the information. And so you can also go into it and you can tidy up the notes after, and you can play around with them. You can just make sure that they're set up in the way, and you can format them in the way you want to send them to your hiring managers or whoever it is you're sending the notes to. But I just really like it because it's simple, and it gives you a really comprehensive summary. And you can present it in the way you want to present it. So really clever tool, and so easy to use. So that's tool number 3 that I want to tell you about. Again, like I say, I'll send a link through to that. The 4th tool, which is it's not so much of a tool, I guess. Well, I guess it is a tool. And again, it comes back to candidate attraction and the marketing piece. So So this is a tool that you can use when you're trying to engage with people on LinkedIn. It's a LinkedIn, it's a tool. Again, it's a Chrome plugin that you can use, and basically it connects into your LinkedIn account. This is for where you use LinkedIn to engage with prospective candidates for the future. Now, I use this every now and then. I don't use it very much, I must admit, only because most of the people that I tend to engage with are people that are in my network, and that I probably know, and I usually have plenty to say to them, because I normally talk to talent acquisition people and other people in my sector, and as you probably can tell, I have lots to say about that. Where this tool is really helpful is where you're engaging with candidates that are perhaps not in your skill area. So for example, if you're a talent acquisition person, and you are engaging with scientists or nurses or IT people, for example, but you don't have a background or skills in any of those areas, that's where this can help. So it helps you to write an engaging comment on LinkedIn without you necessarily having a huge amount of knowledge about the particular topic yourself, but it makes you sound like you do because you're getting AI to help you with it. So let me share my screen again for the last time. Let's go to the right window. And so this is just my LinkedIn feed. So just my LinkedIn feed, my normal feed. And so I'm just going to scroll down and see what people are talking about and what I might be able to engage with. Okay, so Danny here is talking about being at day 2 of the Talent Intelligence Conference. And you'll see my connections in almost all talent people of some kind. Lots of insights, inspiration, and questions. Now, if I wanted to say something to Danny, let's see what it comes up with. So I want to say something. I want to engage with that content because obviously, as we've talked about in previous sessions, if you're engaging with people on LinkedIn, you need to like and comment and share and get yourself noticed so that they see you and they engage with you. Because if you do that before you connect with them, they're much more likely to accept your connection request because they effectively already know who you are. They already have built a level of knowing who you are, liking who you are, and trusting who you are because you've been engaging with them and connecting with them. I'm not going to go through all of that again, but that's the purpose for leaving comments and liking and sharing. So let's say I want to leave a comment, but just say, for example, I'm going to pretend I'm not a talent acquisition person, and actually I don't entirely know what would be talked about at the Talent Intelligence Conference, and what kind of insights they might be, and I need a little bit of help with writing a comment that doesn't sound really generic, but and also I don't have to put too much thought into. So I've got this plugin built in here, this little people icon. And so I'm going to say, I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to tell the AI that I want to ask a question about this post. So all I've done here is I've clicked question. And I'm saying here, so the AI has generated this comment for me. Impressive conference agenda. What was the most thought-provoking insight you gained today? And it's given me a little hashtag on there. Now, I'm not going to write that because I know Danny, or I think we've met at a couple of events. And that sounds a little bit cheesy because it sounds like I don't know him. But if I wanted to, I would write that. So let's say I'm going to do a friendly post instead. Because I know the person. Let's see what it comes up with. So again, it's reading the post to decide what to say. It's taking quite a long time to think about it. Just going to do that again. Maybe it doesn't like it because, here we go. Sounds like an amazing event. I hope you're getting the most out of it. Conferences provide a great opportunity to learn and connect with industry experts. Enjoy the rest of your time at the Talent Intelligence Conference. Now, again, I probably wouldn't write all of that. I'd probably say something like, sounds like an amazing event. I hope you're, I'd probably say, sounds like you're getting lots out of it. I'm going to take out this because I think Danny probably knows that piece of information. And enjoy the rest of your time at the. I'm going to take out that. I'm just going to say conference because I don't need to tell him again the type of conference he's at. I'm going to put a little smiley face on there. So yeah, that will do. I'm just going to post that. Okay, so that gives you a bit of an idea of how it works. So I'm just going to come down and see if we can see another one. Okay, so Colm is talking about. Oh, actually, I can't read that because that looks like that's in German. Okay, I've translated it. Not only promotes employee satisfaction, but also productivity within a company in order to fully explode. So I'm just interested in this actually, because I haven't tried it in a different language before. Colm's actually based in Ireland, so but he probably speaks German as well by the looks of it. So just out of interest, I'm just gonna say congratulate, just out of interest, and see what it comes up with. Yeah, so it's summarizing tips for promoting age diversity in an article with HR Journal. Oh, look at that. How cool is that? That has written a comment in German. I clearly don't write German and I don't speak German, but this has given me a German comment. So that's really cool. Now, I'm not going to post that because I don't know what it says, but that is really cool. So if you really wanted to post back in another language, you could create your comments. You could then go into Google Translate, drop it into Google Translate, and check what it says in English so that it's what you would definitely want to say, and then click send if you're happy with it, or tweak the comments in Google Translate, copy and paste it back in German, and there you go, your comment. So you've got a clever, unusual comment that isn't generic in that person's language, which could be really useful if you're doing recruitment from other countries that are not English speaking. Okay, so let's have a look at Marta. It was an interesting day, English and Diversity Summit, organized by Field Fisher. Lovely venue, great speakers and workshop, a lot of new knowledge, some good food for thought and plenty of ideas. Thank you so much for organizing a great event. Can't wait for the next one. Actually, I'm going to go do this one. Hung does. If you're not following Hung Lee, do follow him. He gives brilliant insight and has a great podcast and does talks about lots and lots of really good stuff. So what's this one? What's happening next 4 weeks? So it's basically an agenda of the different things he's got on in the next 4 weeks. So I'm just gonna do congratulate, because I'm going to say, great content or whatever. So it's reading the post. Might take a little bit of time, actually, because this is quite a long post. No, it's quite quick. Congratulations on the upcoming panel discussion on the implications of changes in abortion rights in the US on job-seeking behavior. It's an important topic, and I'm looking forward to hearing the insights from Powell and the panel. Keep up the great work. So that's really cool. So I hadn't even fully read that, but I now know, it's giving me a bit of insight as to what exactly is going to be talked about. Again, I'm not going to post that because it's not something that I would necessarily say to Hung. But, again, if I didn't know him and it was a candidate I was trying to engage with, then that possibly is something that I would say, because I wouldn't know enough about the person to engage in conversation, in that way. But like I say, it does a couple of things. One, it gives you inspiration. Two, it will help you come up with a comment that is relevant to the post. That may be a post that is something you don't have knowledge about, or in a different language, as we've just discovered. I hadn't known that, so that's a new tool for me too. But if nothing else, it just gives you a bit of, a starting ground. You might not go with that comment completely, and in fact, if I was using it, I probably wouldn't go with the comment completely. But what I would do is use it as an inspiration, as a starting point, and I would tweak it and make it my own, and make it my words, and leave it there, and use it as it's using it as that 80% to help you be an assistant for you without doing it completely and making it impersonal. Just let it help you and support you as you do your candidate attraction and marketing. So just as a really quick recap, and I'm going to wrap up for the day. We talk about ChatHub, which is a platform where you can effectively use ChatGPT and some of the other chatbots all in one place to compare what they would write from a particular prompt so that you can mix and match or use one and not the other. But it's a nice way of seeing the different things that different bots write. We've tried, so that was Chat Hub. We've looked at a scorecard. We've looked at creating a scorecard to capture data and capture information from a candidate whilst engaging them and whilst drawing them in and capturing their information so that we can engage with them further down the track, but also giving them something useful back in return by giving them a guide or a piece of information or some useful tool that they can use. We've talked about minimizing bias during interviews and how a transcription tool can really help you do that. And we've talked very briefly about MetaView and how easy it is to adopt and how easy it is to use and take, as much of that bias out of your interview process as you possibly can. And then we've looked at that quick little LinkedIn tool for engaging with your candidates so that you can attract them and to make it easier for you to connect with prospective candidates for the future on a tool like LinkedIn. So I think that's everything for today. I hope that's been really interesting. I hope that's been helpful. I hope those have been new tools. I know, ChatGPT perhaps isn't, but I think hopefully some of the other tools are ones that you haven't come across before. And they are really clever. I'm really interested in this as a topic. And so I play around with new tools every time I hear about them. And these are really useful and really practical and really speed up what we do, but also really help what we do as well. So makes just a really, really big difference to the recruitment process to make you efficient as a recruiter, help that that engagement and that effectiveness. All the three things we've got in the Venn diagram that's next to me. So thank you so much for joining me today. I will send out a copy of the replay to everyone that has registered, as well as the links to those tools that I've talked about. Go on, have a play around with them. Most of them have a free option, or the links I'm sending you will give you a free option to try them out. Play around with them and decide if they're a tool that's going to help your recruitment moving forward. And I hope they've been useful. Look out for next month's content, which I haven't decided on yet. And I hope we'll see you in, it's going to be October. That's amazing, isn't it? It's going to be October next month. See you in October. Thank you, Hayri. Is it Hayri? Glad you enjoyed it. I hope it's been useful to you. Thanks everyone for joining me, and I'll see you next month.